Once I knock out Mike Perry, Conor McGregor, let's run it. But you won't do it because you know what's going to happen. You saw what I did to Nate Diaz, who you went toe-to-toe with. So Conor McGregor, lay off the cocaine, get in the gym, and start winning fights, and then maybe we could have a conversation.
Jake Paul is at it again with another stunt to stay in the spotlight. This time, he's challenged Conor McGregor to a fight targeting May of next year. Paul posted a video disrespecting McGregor, but let's be honest, his strategy is as obvious as his boxing skills. He's going after aging legends to boost his so-called legacy. After bringing Mike Tyson, a man old enough to be his father, into the ring, Paul now has his sights set on McGregor, who hasn't had a significant win in years.
Jake Paul training with professional boxers, essentially being a professional boxer, but getting in the ring with non-boxers or geriatrics. He's not doing.
Of course, Jake isn't about to fight someone in their prime. Why risk losing to a real challenge when he can cherry-pick opponents who are past their peak? It's honestly pathetic. If Jake is so eager to prove himself, why not face someone his own age with equal strength? But that wouldn't fit his narrative, would it? Another day, another cringeworthy attempt to grab attention from the internet's least favorite boxer. Jake wants to fight Conor McGregor. Yes, that Conor McGregor, the one who hasn't won a fight since 2021 and whose legacy is as shaky as his left leg after facing Poirier. Jake, in his infinite wisdom and unmatched humility, cue sarcasm, presented this news as if he were solving world hunger. The audacity of this man to act like he's doing McGregor a favor is mind-blowing. Poirier. The fight is reportedly set for India in 2025 because why not? Let's add an exotic location to make this circus even more absurd. Jake's ego, like his career, thrives on spectacle, and this is just his latest way of staying in the headlines while the rest of us cringe. And so this fight is within the Atlanta, or the greatest fighters the world has ever seen.
Why doesn't he just get in the ring with you?
He's on Twitter, he's on his yacht, he's on cocaine, but he's not in the ring with me.
Then there's ESPN Sal Vender, the journalist who decided to stir the pot with a tweet that set social media on fire. He claimed Jake Paul versus Conor McGregor is being considered for July, August, or September of 2025. And of course, it's happening in India, because why not? Apparently, a ridiculous matchup isn't complete without an exotic backdrop and a far-off date that lets everyone forget how pointless it is. Solander's tweet lit up Twitter like a Christmas tree, with fans, critics, and trolls diving into the chaos. Likes, retweets, memes, you name it, the internet delivered. What makes Solander's tweet so maddeningly brilliant is that it doesn't confirm anything, but it keeps everyone talking. Whether he's a master manipulator or just an agent of chaos is up for debate, but one thing's clear, he's helped keep Jake Paul in the headlines, which, let's be honest, is Jake's real goal. This isn't about boxing, it's about attention, and Jake knows exactly how to grab it. But let's pause for a second. Jake's been on a roll lately. Remember his so-called victory over Mike Tyson? Oh yes, Jake stepped into the ring with a 58-year-old man and celebrated like he'd just conquered the heavyweight division. The fight was scored unanimously in Jake's favor, which, given Tyson's age, was hardly a surprise. But did that stop Jake from hyping himself up like he was the next Sugar Ray Leonard? Absolutely not. The man thrives on delusion. Jake's strategy in the Tyson fight was simple. Avoid getting knocked out by a man old enough to collect a pension and then flex for the cameras. And of course, he made sure the world saw every moment of his grueling preparation. Because Jake Paul without a training montage is like a YouTuber without clickbait. It just doesn't work. Push-ups, sparring, selfies. Jake's team documented it all. The end result? A performance so mediocre that even Tyson's age-fueled punches couldn't make it exciting. Critics weren't just unimpressed, they were appalled. If there's one thing Jake Paul excels at, it's making mediocrity look like an Olympic sport. Now back to this McGregor nonsense. Jake's pitch for this fight screams desperation. He knows McGregor isn't in his prime anymore, but hey, that's Jake's specialty. cherry-picking opponents who won't completely destroy him. For McGregor, this fight is less about boxing and more about cashing in on a paycheck. What else does he have going for him? His whiskey empire? His stale trash talk? Jake, on the other hand, sees this as yet another opportunity to feed his insatiable hunger for validation. Right.
Conor McGregor just tweeted at me because of this interview.
He has to get active again. You know, who knows when that's going to happen.
These are his tweets, and here's my response. Conor. You're more active on Twitter than you are in the octagon. Stop taking Trenbolone and start taking fights. You're more actively cheating on your wife than you are in the octagon. Your priorities are mixed up. Put down the bottle and get back to fighting. You haven't won a fight in 5 fucking years, and the last time you did was against Cowboy Cerrone, who hasn't won a fight against anyone since fighting you. I'm a nobody, you say in this tweet. Well, yeah, you're right. I'm just a fucking kid from Ohio. I really am a nobody, but this is where you fought your 6th fight.
There's literally 2 people in the crowd.
And this is where I'm going to be fighting my 6th fight. Madison Square Garden, the mecca of boxing. August 6th. I know you'll be watching, kiddo.
Financially, the fight makes sense, and that's the only reason it's even being considered. Jake Paul's entire career is built on turning controversy into cash. The bigger the name, the louder the noise, and Jake knows how to play that game better than anyone. But let's not pretend this is about advancing his career as a boxer. Jake Paul's version of boxing involves dancing around aging legends and avoiding real competition. Conor McGregor, once the untouchable king of the UFC, is now on the brink of irrelevance, clinging to the remnants of his former glory. This is the same guy who used to strike fear into opponents with his fists and charm millions with his Irish swagger. Now, he's more likely to be spotted selling whiskey or firing off cringeworthy Twitter rants than stepping into a fight that actually matters. Let's not forget his last memorable moment in the octagon was snapping his leg against Dustin Poirier in 2021, a loss so devastating that even his legendary trash talk couldn't salvage it. Since then, he's been on a long streak of inactivity.
Look, Conor is not what he once was. And so even beating him, it still looks good on somebody's resume.
Fast forward to now, and McGregor's big comeback isn't in the UFC, it's in the form of exhibition matches. Let me break that down for you. He's looking for low-risk, high-payday fights that won't tarnish what's left of his reputation. It's almost like he's playing dodgeball with his legacy, avoiding any real competition while cashing in. Enter Jake Paul, the YouTube sensation turned boxer, who somehow manages to make McGregor look like the epitome of class by comparison. Being the relentless clout chaser that he is, Jake threw down a challenge to McGregor, and the result? Radio silence from Conor. Not a tweet, not a snarky Instagram post, nothing. It's almost as if Conor himself realizes how ridiculous this fight would be, or maybe he's just too busy plotting his next whiskey ad. Another big surprise, McGregor responded to a marketing tweet referring to himself as a man of tremendous merits. Thoughtful. You know, if McGregor takes the fight, it's a double-edged sword. Sure, it's another chance to earn a paycheck, but at what cost? A loss to Jake Paul would be the final nail in the coffin for his fighting legacy. And let's be honest, his reputation is already hanging by a thread. Reject the fight and he avoids the circus, but he also loses one of his few remaining opportunities to stay relevant. So that's my optimistic point of view, because my health is getting more dollar and my mind is way too scattered. Either way, the notorious McGregor is becoming more infamous for his courtroom appearances and reality show antics than for his once feared left hook.
Make no mistake, it will be a trilogy fight down the line. It won't be straight away, but we will do it 3 times, 100%.
Now, let's talk about what this fight would actually mean for combat sports. Spoiler, not much. It's all about spectacle over skill, drama over discipline. Boxing purists will cringe, MMA fans will groan, and casual viewers will tune in for the memes, not the moves. Jake Paul doesn't care about legitimacy. He cares about cash. For McGregor, it's another chance to avoid the octagon while cashing a fat check. The fight itself, it's were a glorified sparring session dressed up as a once-in-a-lifetime event. Jake's career, if you can even call it that, thrives on these gimmicks. He recently announced his retirement from influencer boxing, whatever that means, and claims he's focusing on professional bouts. But let's be real, Jake Paul is as much a professional boxer as I am an astronaut. His entire persona is built on chaos, controversy, and carefully orchestrated clownery. A fight with McGregor isn't about proving himself in the ring, it's about inflating his brand and bank account. Win or lose, Jake will spin the narrative to make himself look like a genius because that's what he does best.
Conor McGregor calls out Jake Paul for the next boxing fight. Here it is.
Make a new name for yourself. Look at what has happened to Michael Perry. You know, one of our big stars here, the king of violence. He titles himself, and you know he's had such a rise in the sport. Now he's up against you know, a little dweeb of a thing in a fight this weekend that we're all rooting for him.
So here we are, watching this circus unfold in slow motion. McGregor, once a fearsome warrior, is now just a shadow of his former self. Jake Paul, a walking meme factory, thrives on the chaos he creates. And then there's Sal Vender, stirring the pot just enough to keep this madness alive. Whether the fight happens or not, the damage is done. Boxing, MMA, and everyone who cares about actual sportsmanship lose, while Jake Paul laughs his way to the bank. For him, it's never been about the fight, it's about the attention, and boy, does he know how to get it. Yet, here we are, witnessing this car crash in slow motion. Jake Paul, a guy who's mastered the art of being insufferable, is trying to sell us on a fight that nobody asked for, but everyone will probably watch out of sheer morbid curiosity. Whether or not it happens, one thing is certain, Jake will milk this for every last drop of attention. For him, it's not about the sport, it's about staying relevant in a world that's increasingly tired of his antics. You know what?